It's not that I can't afford to pay rent, like I'm on disability. It's hard to find a place to rent. That's the thing, the rent is so high. So at least here, I have phone service, I have a bathroom I can use, there's water I can use, I got facility, like I got the breakfast club here in Duncan that I can go shower and do my laundry. Out there I have no running water, no toiletry, you know, and I paid $4.50.
In the past couple of years, there's just absolutely nothing available for a person like myself that needs help. I'm been outdoors for a while, living in a tent, and I try to move around, not to stay in one spot too long so I don't get harassed, but it's been really, really tough. A lot of people look at me and say, well, why aren't you working? But if they only knew my story. I used to be one of them. I'd see people in the tent, well, they look healthy, why aren't they working? Why aren't they paying their own way? But there must be a reason why they're there.
It was impossible. Nothing was in my price range. I had very little savings for first and last. And I ended up in a camper on the side of the road for a while, which was cold and wet and not very insulated. Not to mention, you know, the physical feeling, but it started affecting our mental health and our emotional health as well.
Technically, at least by the government standards, the amount of rent I am paying compared to my income is like 2/3. If I just tried to move somewhere else, there'd be nowhere else to go.
In my particular case, we are looking for affordable, safe housing for my father, who has mobility issues and is you know, elderly and requires some care. And it's virtually impossible to find affordable, safe housing. A lot of times what we're looking at are basement suites or units in people's houses, and we've been told flat out that landlords don't want to rent to people with disabilities. Your only option is the homeless shelter. So that's the sort of advice we're getting from these people. That, and that I should vote better next time.
It's hard to find rent when you're new to it too. So you end up with family, and that's always not the best option. It's also hard to get out of a bad environment. I was too scared to find my own place. There's not a lot of options.
A lot of young people work every single day, including myself. I couch surfed for like 6 months. Wasn't really anything out there, especially for a kid who is 22 years old and only really has 3 references. And that's a big one for people. People always want so many references, but young people don't have that. And some people just, they don't like renting to young people.
We are now currently living with my husband's parents because the rental market has increased beyond what anybody can afford, especially a young family working a modest income. Well, my husband and I are hoping that with living with family, we can start to save up to buy our own house in hopefully the very near future, because right now that is really the only option out there. We'd actually been trying to look for about a year, and places would go up one day and within an hour to 24 hours, they were gone.
And we are so lucky, and I still have anxiety attacks when I look at the rental market because of how lucky we are. It's amazing. We competed with 24 other families to get into the house that we're in, and they said that the reason that they chose us was because I have the same last name or same first name as their daughter.
Prejudice.
I don't have enough supports here to have backups in case I can't find a place to live.
Without having a home for him right now, we're renting rooms in Airbnbs, and those are not acceptable locations for home care workers to attend. So having said that, we can't even get in the queue to get into assisted living or independent living facilities. And I thought it was sort of ironic because the alternative is homelessness.
Cost, availability, and competition is fierce.
Low-income housing.
I just feel like we're trying to just shoo people away rather than try to actually deal with the problems. Like, they need more housing. They need more places where people who are on very low income can go.
There's a definite need for more support structures, whether that's transitional areas. Affordable housing is number one.
Have something out there to help people be able to get their identification, because you can't do anything without identification.
Maybe if there was just like a process for emergencies, you know, because when you find yourself in an emergency homeless situation, there is no way to get immediate help. It's just like, I'm sorry, your place in line is still your place in line.
So just to have something there that young people, like oriented around young kids who are just getting out, just getting their own place, and can be there to support them and try to find that.
And building affordable housing, look at your demographic in your area, look at your families, look at your elderly.
When people are able to comfortably support themselves, they look outward to how they can help others. And I think that would go a long way for the community too. If you support people, they'll support you right back.
It's not just the guy looking for cans down the street that's looking for work and looking for housing. It's your average people that you see dropping their kids off at school.
People do what they have to survive, right? And no one has a right to be judged.
It's a lot scarier to be on the inside of that tent, to not have guaranteed warmth and shelter and food.
Everyone deserves home.
And compassion.
Open your goddamn hearts to people you're telling. Open your hearts.